Imagine going to a car dealership and saying, here's what I want in a car. I want it to be a sleek and sexy car, like a sports car. But I want it to be rugged, like an SUV. And actually, I want to have a lot of cargo capacity, like a van. And it's got to have good fuel efficiency, so maybe it should be electric or hybrid. Oh, and I want it to be safe, so maybe it should have armor, right? So it's bullet resistant. What kind of vehicle would you end up with that hybrid list of Frankenstein characteristics, right? You would get a really weird looking car. And in an attempt to be everything to you, you're probably going to look at it going, hey, you know what? I don't really want to buy that. I think I will just go and buy a sports car separately and a van separately and maybe a camper separately. I don't want all that. Can you imagine a cell phone, a smartphone, we open it up and there's just one app and the manufacturer's like, yeah, this app does it all, right? It can play games, it can take voice notes, it can make calls, it can play podcasts, and you'd be like, I don't know it's going to do all that really well, and it's going to be kind of a nightmare to navigate. Can I just have a regular phone where I can install my own apps? So what does this have to do with AI? The future of AI is having, in particular, language models everywhere, but not having them be monolithic. Right now, in the early stages, we are sort of at the Apple II Plus era of language models, where there's one computer, right, that you can get, and you're limited to what that can do, right? There's not a lot of variety right now, which is not technically true, but for this analogy, it more or less is. We're operating in the AI space with the idea of very large monolithic models that try to be everything to everybody, right? It can write poetry and songs and rewrite content and translate and do blog posts and all these things. And they're good. They're good at what they do, but they're not great. They're not Pulitzer Prize winning, right? They're not going to win Emmys or Oscars. And the reason for that is that it's the same reason that you're not going to buy a car that's fuel efficient, heavily armored, sleek, and carries a lot of cargo. You can't have it all in one thing. So the future of AI and the future of generative models in particular is going to be fine-tuned task-specific models. Think of AI software, AI models as apps, right? You don't have one app for everything. You have individual apps. You have Angry Birds to play Angry Birds. You have Candy Crush to play Candy Crush. You have Microsoft Word to write stuff in Word. You have the Gmail app to check your Gmail. That is the direction that AI is likely to go, probably will go. And it's a good thing for it to go, because one of the challenges of ever bigger models is that they are ever more expensive computationally to run. Today, as we are now seeing in the open source space, where these models are fragmenting into thousands of use cases, an individual model can be very small, very light, very efficient at doing one thing. It's not good at other things anymore, right? It has been specialized, but the one thing it's good at, it's getting really good at. There's one model on Hugging Face called Karen the Editor. Karen the Editor only does one thing: grammar, spelling, punctuation, and repairs to text, right? Karen the Editor does not write. It does not rephrase. It does not summarize. It just fixes text. And it exists as very efficient because it only does that one limited set of tasks. This is how to think about the future of AI, so that we have individual applications that use AI in them in the same way that we have individual pieces of software today that do different things, right? Adobe Photoshop and Microsoft Word do totally different things. And you really wouldn't want them trying to do what the other does, because it wouldn't go very well. But you will have that commonality of the AI model within every one of these tools. And this is already happening today. As of the time I'm recording this, Adobe Photoshop has a language model in it to do generative fill. Adobe Illustrator just announced a generative model where you can recolor your illustrations. Microsoft has announced Copilot for Microsoft Office that will have generative modeling within the entirety of the Office suite. Every one of these models is going to be different, separate, and tuned towards specific tasks. So if your company or your marketing group or you are thinking about, how am I going to integrate AI so that I can remain competitive. I can offer, great benefits to people. Just don't worry about trying to build the biggest, baddest, hugest, most flexible machine. Think instead, how can I fine tune and purpose build a model that just does one thing really, really well, is the best at that thing, and then deploy it. So that's the future of AI models. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you next time. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button.